Brooksaw Antiques here. Today we have this 1964 Olivetti Lettera 32 vintage portable typewriter. I'm going to show you how to use the functions and make sure they all work. Made in Italy, and I believe 1964 was the first year they made these. So this has the early shell, which is the smoother shell, versus later on they made a more rough surface. Not like a crinkle colored paint, but the actual metal was more rough. It might have been a different material. This is made out of cast iron, the shell is, and these this handle here is made out of cast aluminum, which do break, but I guess they had to make it with that to make the perfect design. So the margins are located up top here. You just push them down and move them like this. I'm going to set this about 0 and 75, and this is the paper support arm that flips up from the back. A little crooked, so I'm going to fix that. There we go, nice and straight. Paper bill sits on top. It's got two adjustable rollers. Once you hear the bell, you're at the end of the margin. You hit this line space, gets you back to the beginning, and skips 1, 2, or 3. Right now we have it on single, but if you want double, you just flip that switch forward. It skips 2, 1 more, it skips 3. That works good. We're going to keep that on single and finish typing. As you can see, all the keys type nice and none of them skip or stick. I'll type a sentence on the next line. Absolutely beautiful. This is the best typewriter ever made, behind the Hermes 3000. But if you're looking for something that's futuristic, this was made in '64, but it feels like it was made in 2024, coming out this year for the first time. It just feels futuristic. It feels even futuristic to this day. It's almost like typing on a computer. To pull the page out easy, there's a switch on the right side here. You flip that forward and it unlocks the rollers underneath the platen, allowing you to pull the page out easy or load thicker paper like carbon copy or cardstock. Make sure you flip that back before you load the next page or else it won't load correctly. So the first Olivetti Lettera came out, it was a 22, and it's almost exactly the same except for little differences. The keys are a little bit different shape, and the panels are different a little bit. But they're both, that one won awards. It won an award for being the best technology design of the last 100 years or something. And then this came out 10 years later or 15 years later, and this is even better than that one, but not by much. A lot of people do prefer the 22 because the design is a little different, but this is a lot smoother. It's a lot of the things that are different, like there's less screws in this. This barely has any screws in it compared to typewriters. Like this bottom plate pops out, there's no screws in it, and this the platen comes off without having to take off any screws. So it's just really, it's just a marvel design. So all right, I'm going to stop with that. Continue. There's a shift on each side and a shift lock on the left. To clear that, just hit that shift button again. Backspace on the right side. And this is as smooth as it gets. The Hermes 3000 is smoother than this, but that's just a different level of typewriter. And they're both different. They're just different. So some people might prefer this over the 3000 because it's just more compact. The 3000 is much bigger. On the right side here, we have the color selector switch. We've got blue, white, and red. When you have it on blue, it prints the top portion of the ribbon. When you have it on white, it doesn't print any ink at all. It just leaves a stencil for copying purposes. When you have it down on the red, it prints the bottom portion of the ribbon. We have a solid black ribbon, but as you can see, it just goes up higher. That's the ribbon vibrator goes up higher when you have it on red than when you have it on black. It doesn't go up as high, it just prints the top portion of the ribbon when you have it in the middle. So you can see it does not go up at all. That works good. Here's your tab function, kind of inconspicuous on the left side of the keyboard. Right now we have a tab set right there. To clear it, you push down. And that's the opposite of the 22, which would be the opposite. When you want to set a tab, you have to push it down. With the 32, you push it up to set a tab. And that's where we just set one, and you can set as many as you want. The harder you press the tab button, which is this red button here, the more drag there is, because there's a piece of cork that makes it drag. And if yours isn't dragging, that cork probably broke off, because it's probably one of the first things to go bad on these. And the lighter you push it, the less drag there is. So that's just a cool fact about the tab. We're gonna pop this off by pulling it up from the middle front here. And that just pops off. It's got a spring that holds it in right there. And it's got 2 latches in the back that latch in. All the brand new ribbons loaded on the left, so it's pulling to the right. If you want to switch that direction, behind the spool, you just flip that into the opposite direction and it'll pull to the opposite direction. We want to keep it pulling to the right. And there it goes. You can see it's pulling clockwise to the right. And touch control is on the inner left here, inconspicuous as well. If you push it down, it just adds more tension when you hit the keys. This is the first typewriter I think that I would like to have more tension, because these keys are just so sensitive that you barely hit it and it prints. So like, but if you have the more tension, it won't, in theory, it just won't print as easy. But I usually keep my typewriters on really low touch control. We're gonna pop this back on by pushing in these hooks in first, down and in, and then popping the top like that. Carriage, and this isn't one of the annoying things about this, this and the 22 is that thing gets locked all the time, and you gotta lift it up to unlock it. And sometimes it'll get locked on accident, and you're like, you think that your typewriter broke, but you just gotta lift that up to unlock that. Carriage release on each side, about as smooth as it gets with a typewriter. No noise when you return it. Like most typewriters, you have click, 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 click. This one does not have that. Very smooth. And if you want to disable the line space, you push this all the way back to 0, and when you turn the knob, you don't have to navigate through the spaces, so you can get to an exact spot on the page. And the same concept when you push in this button. So you put that on 1, you get the clicks. You get the clicks when you turn like that. And if you push in this knob, it'll disable the spacing, just like when you have this on 0. And that's it. Oh, this flips back, so when you have it in the case, it closes all the way and it protects the handle. And that's it. Now available. Oh no, there's one more thing. Sorry. So you get to the end of the margin, there's a mechanism that locks the keys from typing, but if you hit this blank key here on the top left, it'll allow you to go all the way to the end. That's the margin release. And that's it. Now available on eBay or Etsy. Search Brooksaw Antiques.